These tiny, squirming creatures are named because of their disturbing translucent skin. This is the bloodworm. Makes me grateful we didn't turn up like that, am I right? They can be found on the Pacific and Atlantic coasts of North America. With skin like that, it's not surprising that they prefer to live in the mud or sand on ocean beaches. Bloodworms look pretty horrifying, but are they dangerous? The short answer is not really, at least not to us humans anyway. At the tip of their head, they possess an everted proboscis, which is an appendage they use to launch directly at their prey. It sounds like a horrible way to die. Next up is the ragworm. This little creeper is, well, he's actually not so little. Ragworms can get as large as 90 centimeters along the shores they call home in North America and Europe. However, despite how disturbing these nightmarish crawling critters can look, they really don't pose any threat to humans. They're not even venomous. So you can take a deep breath and relax now. At number 7, we meet the horsehair worm. It's named after an old superstition, and a little more obviously because it looks like a small pile of horsehair, doesn't it? Even though you can usually find horsehair worms in all sorts of wet areas like swimming pools, puddles, or water tanks, there's really no need to worry. They're completely harmless. The only creatures that should be worried are smaller bugs like crickets. The horsehair worm is parasitic and can often zombify its unwilling hosts. Consider yourself lucky, I guess. Taking the number 6 position, it's the fireworm. It lives around reefs and on muddy ocean floors of the western Atlantic. Their name may imply that they pose a threat to humans, and while they certainly aren't lethal, they can still cause a great deal of pain if a hapless diver brushes up against their bristles. They're used as a defense mechanism, similar to porcupines. They aren't poisonous, but they are sharp, and they certainly don't look inviting. Speaking of critters that aren't at all inviting, we have the tapeworm in our number 5 spot. Yep, we've all heard of this one, and the tales are true. Tapeworms can infect humans, and the results aren't very pleasant. They usually take refuge in the intestines as they mature, and they can grow as large as 25 meters inside of a person. The best way to avoid them? It's pretty simple. Stay away from undercooked meat and wash your hands. Something even more terrifying at number 4 is the Guinea worm. Like the tapeworm, this unwelcome visitor is a parasite, meaning it needs a host to survive. In other words, humans. So what's the biggest difference between the two? Well, this slithering nightmare has the ability to lay eggs inside its host. If given enough time, it will eventually penetrate through the host's skin via blisters and bruises. There are ways to remove them, but not without the help of a medical professional. If you're in a tropical region without clean drinking water, be careful. A bit much? Yeah, I can feel my skin itching too. Perhaps let's lighten the tone a bit with a worm that doesn't want to turn us into its home. For example, our number 3 entry, the Bootlace Worm. It prefers lurking around the coastlines of countries like Ireland, Germany, and Iceland. Although it does have venomous mucus that can kill predators, it doesn't pack enough of a punch to do serious harm to people. Aren't you at least glad it's not burrowing under your skin? You should be. Bootlace worms can grow as long as 30 meters, but there's an urban legend that tells of one longer than a blue whale showing up on the shores of Scotland in 1864. How about we discuss something a little smaller, like this fuzzy fellow, the velvet worm? Our number 2 weirdest worm is local to Southeast Asia, Central America, and Mexico. If you're wandering around rotting logs in wet areas, you might stumble across one trying to stay as moist as possible to avoid drying out. Most interesting is their ability to eject a slime substance up to 30 centimeters to capture prey. Pretty neat superpower, wouldn't you agree? This brings us to the worm in our number 1 spot, the Bobbit Worm. While they don't have any documented thirst for human blood, they are ambush predators that can be found around the world. They're masters at hiding in their burrows until the time comes to strike oncoming prey. If you're interested in learning why, check out our video all about the Bobbit Worm being even scarier than you might think, ejecting mucus slime at prey and infesting human intestines. That's what some of these worms do, and that's what makes them crazy creatures.